You are now listening to the greatest show in the universe.
Hey man, this is Tommy Chong, and right now you're listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, this is Jordan Belfort, the real Wolf of Wall Street, and you're listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sean Danielsen from Smile Empty Soul, and you are listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
The Anthony Rogers Show.
Brian Van Dyke from the Verb Pipe here, and you're listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, this is James Jude Courtney, Michael Myers, a.k.a. The Shape, in Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and the soon-to-be-released Halloween Ends. And this is the Anthony Rogers Show.
I am Dave Holmes from MTV and Esquire Magazine, and you are listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
What's up, everybody? WWE Hall of Famer, the Godfather, and cannabis expert, and connoisseur, and you're watching the Anthony Rogers Show. Peace.
This holiday season, you're going to want to smell like luxurious bastard beard co. You either want to wear them as a man or smell them as a woman. So buy them as a man or buy them for your man. Don't smell like a bum this holiday. Do it right. With Luxurious Bastard Beard Company, use promo code LEGENDARY for a discount.
Welcome back to the greatest show in the entire universe, with a dissolving couch and going through space. This is really happening. We have Nikki Knightly and Sean Danielsen today. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Good. We have a crazy guest, like a crazy huge guest. Like this is crazy. This is a big story for anybody in like the gun community or the anti-rape community, I guess. Like anybody in that angle, which I hope all of us can agree to, at least on that on the second one.
Yeah.
But crazy story. Absolute pleasure for him to take time to be here. Like how you doing, brother?
I'm good.
How do I say your last name? I'm an idiot. I didn't want to mess that up. I was gonna say your last name, but I felt like I was gonna butcher it.
Okay, so try it. And I'll tell you if you're right.
Plauché, is that right, or am I wrong?
It's Plauché.
Plauché. I was very close. Yeah.
It's been close enough.
I'm white trash trying to read French, and I didn't want to. So I want to make that
like,
the
is
first
that
question.
French?
It's like, the first question's like
It's French.
I could spell it, but I couldn't read it. But no. So okay, this story's. I knew this personally is like you. So it's crazy you even talked about it. But so that whole story's crazy. It's your dad Gary's birthday today. Also, you're saying?
It is.
That's crazy. How old
he would have been? I think he would have been 78, I believe.
78. Wow. That's a crazy story. So that's like a crazy story, man. Like that like blew up, and like did it get bigger now for you? Like are people like asking you now more about it because like internet memes and stuff?
It's grown over the last 10 years. I've seen it from social media, between YouTube, podcasts, true crime podcasts, especially TikTok videos. I mean, and with the memes and the kill your local pedophile and pedocilin cure. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
What are your thoughts? Sorry.
I was just gonna say I've definitely seen it in the circles that I run in. I mean, just grow and awareness of the whole story is just huge, at this point.
I'll be honest, I don't know anything about the story. Can you guys give me like some cliff notes on what you guys are talking about?
Yeah, Jody, you want to do cliff notes because like we have the source actually.
I can do a quick rundown. To make it short, when I was 10 years old, I started taking karate from a man named Jeff Doucet, who was can we say just talk normal, because I did an interview not so long ago where I couldn't say pedophile because it was like on YouTube or something, but he was a pedophile, and he started sexually abusing me when I was 10. Eventually, he had gotten in some trouble. He owed money, wrote some bad checks, and he left town. And when he did, he took me with him. So not only was he a child molester, but then he became a kidnapper. And then, wait, do you know the story now?
No, that just sounds horrific. Like,
but it gets much better. We'll just wait. So I was gone for 10 days. He allowed me after a week to call home to my mother to let her know I was okay. And eventually they traced the call to a motel room in Anaheim, California, and they arrested him. I was
Wow.
flown back. I was flown back March 1st, 1984. I flew from LAX to New Orleans, and 9 days later, at this point, I was going to the police station. They were questioning me. At this point, I was denying what had happened. I was saying he didn't touch me, but I knew I'd gone to the hospital and they did a rape kit on me, so I knew that was going to come back positive. So I knew I was going to keep quiet until the rape kit came back, and then I would open up and tell the truth. That way,
Were you
I could
scared that
tell.
like something would happen to you if you told them the truth?
I was scared that Jeff was not going to go to jail, and if he found out once he didn't go to jail that I told on him, that he would somehow come after me. So I wasn't lying to protect him. I was lying to protect me. So on March 9th, Baton Rouge Sheriff's Department, Mike Barnett, he informed my parents of the FBI's hospital report that it came back positive with spermatozoa on the rectal slide. So my mother sat me down. I admitted it. My father, the first things out of his mouth was he's a fucking dead man. And so a week later, Mike Barnett, the man who led the rescue of me and told my parents about what happened, flew out to Los Angeles to extradite Jeff back to Baton Rouge. And he went with another sheriff deputy, Bud Connor. And those two, when they arrived at the Baton Rouge airport, Mike Barnett went out to look because a camera had shown up, like a news camera had shown up. So Mike Barnett went out to go look for like my dad and other kids' dads that Jeff had molested that he had confessed to on the flight home. And so as he was looking behind the camera, he didn't see anybody. So he waved them on. So Bud and Jeff come around the corner and start walking. Well, Mike was looking behind the camera. What Mike didn't do, he didn't look to his right side because my dad was on a payphone talking to his best friend. And when they walked past him, my dad turned around, 180 no scoped him, and the rest is internet history. Oh, wait, but we haven't got to the good part yet.
Oh my God.
So my dad was arrested. He was charged with second-degree murder. Well, initially he was charged with attempted second-degree murder, but then Jeff died the next day. So then it was second-degree murder. He eventually pled no contest to manslaughter. He was given 7 years hard time, but the judge suspended the sentence, gave him 5 years probation and 300 hours community service. So he shot him on a Friday. He got out on Monday. Other than that, he didn't do any jail time.
Right.
Incredible.
That is fucking insane.
That's true justice. That's true justice. I think that's what's so part of what's so cool about your story is that justice was served, and the American justice system recognized it and let your dad off the hook.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to tell me that well, if your dad did that these days he'd go to jail. I'm like, no, he wouldn't. I mean, the evidence against Jeff was very damning. There was no jury in Baton Rouge that was going to convict my father. And my dad knew a lot of people, and the same people that were in positions of power that, worked the system to where my father didn't go to jail were the same people that would have been made sure that Jeff would have gone to jail. But I tell people this, my father didn't even lose his job, and he drove the company car to the airport.
Incredible, man.
That's crazy. Go ahead.
I was going to say that part may have been different in this day and age. Companies, allowing you to keep your job after driving the company car to do something like that.
Yeah.
And look, the company that he worked for is really big. Tomorrow night, LSU's playing Florida in football. The game's going to be on ESPN. Watch the game. Watch the head coach. He's going to have a symbol that says H&E, and that was the company my dad worked for. It's called Head and Inquest. So the story was that the owner was in Dallas meeting with some, future big clients, and when they sat down for dinner, he said, "Hey, John, you heard about the shooting down there in Baton Rouge? That's where you're from, right?" And John Inquist was like, "Yeah, that's my hometown. I heard about it." And he goes, "Someone ought to give that man a key to the city." And he goes, "Well, he's my number one salesman." So that's kind of how he never lost his job.
Wow,
that's hilarious.
That's great. So are you in Baton Rouge right now?
Yes, I am.
Dude, I'm in New Orleans right now.
Oh, are
So
you?
happens to be, yeah. Well,
What are you going?
I'm on tour right now. We played a show in New Orleans last night, and we have a day off today. So
What venue were you playing?
Southport Music Hall.
Is that like it's not necessarily like downtown New Orleans? I think you know who just
Jefferson.
performed there a couple of weeks ago? Corey Feldman, I think, just heard there.
I think you're right. Dude.
He did.
Same place. Yeah, it's outside of the. It's not in the French Quarter or any of those downtown areas.
No, I know exactly where it's at.
You do? Yeah, it's like an industrial kind of area.
You should get Corey Feldman to open for you, bro. Like Corey Feldman open for small.
I think we'd be opening for Corey Feldman at this point.
I hope. No, I don't think
He's
that.
a
I
weirdo.
can't believe that. I can't go down with that.
I'd like to see Corey Feldman paired with Britney Spears for Dancing with the Stars.
I like that idea.
There you go. Oh my god.
You might get a few nicks, but that's all right.
That's hilarious. Oh, those poor people. I feel like being a celebrity just fucking damn like traumatizes everyone to the point they're just like strung out on drugs and like out of their mind.
See that a lot.
Yeah.
So hey, Jody, how is this whole thing like what is your opinion of all this, man? Like we know the story and stuff. Like what's like your opinion on everything, man?
Like now versus then?
Both really. I mean what's now first, I guess, yeah.
Now I just got get a kick out of it. I mean, I play along. I mean, if you saw the picture I posted on the X last night, I took a picture. All right, so a couple weeks ago, someone mentioned me and was like, "Hey, Jody, help us with something. What was on your dad's hat, baseball cap?" And so I posted a business card that was from the previous job, which the hat was related to, and it was called Riverland High Lift. That's where my dad used to work. And so I posted that business card. Well, somebody took it and made a graphic art picture and sent it to me. So I was able to go to Amazon and upload that logo to a white baseball cap, and it came in. It just so happened it came in last night. So I threw some sunglasses on. I put that cap on. I've got the beard going, and I mean, I look just like my dad. It was weird.
His jeans.
I have a question. How do you feel like I can kind of relate just because I was sexually abused as a child, and I was just curious, like as someone who struggles with PTSD, like that obviously gave you PTSD. Like how have you learned to like manage that or like heal from that? And like how does it like affect does that still kind of affect you psychologically to this day?
No, because what happened is it was so public. So, I mean, most sexual abuse victims probably don't identify. Like I knew as soon as Jeff was testing my boundaries that he was doing something wrong. I just was still 10 years old, and I knew my dad would kill him if I said anything. So I just kept my mouth shut. But I never blamed myself. I never had any of that guilt. So I was lucky. I mean, my mother had warned me and told me about it. So I didn't go into this blind, where a lot of kids, they'll be younger, 6, 7, 8 years old, and they don't even know what's going on, and the abuse will last for 5, 6 years, and not to mention then they keep that secret quiet, and they probably don't say nothing until maybe they have a kid or something like that. That's when everything comes back on them. I never had that, never had it at all.
I feel like because people found out about it sooner, it wasn't like a secret you had to keep. I feel like keeping it a secret can almost be, just like you were saying, more damaging, because then you're living with it on your own. You're dealing with it by yourself, and you feel this guilt or like shame or fear of judgment. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Maybe it being such a publicly known thing on such a scale diffused it a little bit.
And I kind of felt a little pressure with, the community rallying around my father, him not going to jail. I felt like, okay, I have to, be a good example, because, all these people, I mean, because ultimately they were all doing it for me so that I would be okay and my family would be okay. So I kind of felt the responsibility not to be a fuck up, because, people would have blamed me fucking up on what happened to me when I was younger. And I didn't want that to be the case.
That's awesome.
Love that.
Yeah, it's gotta be a crazy situation. Like, so it's like such a public situation, and like to be in that, it's gotta be nuts. And then so this was a big deal in your town for a while and stuff. And then was this like a national story back in the day too?
Oh yeah, I remember. It was in the Star magazine. Michael Jackson was on the front cover. And,
damn.
here's me with my hair
God.
dyed black. Yeah, the irony of that.
Yeah, they put you next to Michael Jackson. I'm like, come on, what I mean? It's like show some respect, man. Show some respect.
No, this is 1984. This was Thriller Michael Jackson. This was the good Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, the irony is only understood now.
So then, when did this come back? I guess was this like within the last 10 years? I guess when did it start popping back off on the internet? I guess then
Well, I don't want to say it's after my book came out because they were still talking about my dad. Before my book came out. My book came out 4 years ago, but you might if I would search my dad's name on Twitter, I might every third day someone mention him. But it's been since COVID, since TikTok became really big, that a family friend of ours who I've known since she was 4 days old, who my parents stayed at their house in Arlington, Virginia when we went to visit them when I was in Pennsylvania, came up to, and she lives in Portland now, came up to her and it's like, have you ever heard of Gary Plauche? And she's like, yeah. And he was like, well, he killed the guy who had kidnapped and molested his son and didn't go to jail. And she's like, yeah, like, how do you know about this? And it was TikTok or it was some, YouTube or something like that. And the funny thing was she was able to go to her son and be like, come here, I want you to see this guy in this picture right here with your mama. That's Mr. Gary. And so that was kind of cool.
I think too, like as the world, the current state of the world and society is just like getting worse and worse and crumbling. Our justice system is getting more and more fucked up. I think that your dad is only going to be elevated more and more as a hero type figure,
He definitely is a symbol of justice for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, especially in this day and age where, states like California and New York, even if you just shoot a home intruder to defend yourself and your family, like you're at risk to go to prison.
That's insane.
Yeah, and so as places become that crazy, like I said, I think that your dad's just going to be, the lore is just going to grow and grow.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be coming out with a documentary series soon. So hopefully that'll help the lore.
Oh, it can only help. Yeah. I would definitely watch that.
What was your relationship like with your father?
Before I started taking karate, I was daddy's boy. My older brother was mama's boy. And literally I stayed in the room with daddy, or daddy stayed in the room with me, and Bubba, my older brother, would stay in their room with my mom. And, I always was daddy's favorite. There's no doubting that. But no, my relationship, not when Jeff was in the picture, because Jeff didn't want me hanging around my dad. So in order to keep Jeff from getting mad at me, I kind of avoided him. But before I started taking karate, I was daddy's boy. After I started taking karate, I kind of had a year, maybe 6 months, where Jeff would get jealous if I rode to the store with my dad or something. And then,
dude.
Then after the shooting was March 16th, 1984. And I probably didn't, I don't want to say forgive him, but I probably didn't accept him back or welcome him back until that summer. He had moved back into the house, and we were walking down to the swimming pool. And I told him, I said, look, I understand why you did what you did, and I'm not mad at you. So I just want you to know that. And so I think that once that happened, it was almost like we just got right back to where we were before I started taking karate. And that was till the day he died.
Awesome.
How old were you when that conversation took place?
I was 11 when the shooting took place. I turned 12 in April the next month. And so you're probably looking 2 months later. So I was still 12 years old.
Wow.
Did you have mixed feelings about him shooting your, what do you call it? victimizer
Karate
or
teacher.
karate teacher?
Yeah, karate
Like,
teacher, pedophile. No, at first, I mean, I'd been with this guy hanging out. I mean, most of the time he was fun, and so yeah. So
yeah,
at first I was upset that Jeff was killed. Um,
yeah,
40 years later, I'm not that same 11-year-old child sitting
right.
on the steps of my grandparents'
You're like, I get it
house.
now.
Oh yeah, I get it. I still,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
this day, would not advise a parent to follow my dad's lead because yeah, he did get the mulligan. He got away with it. It's better for a parent to be there for their child. And we saw that case with Ellie Nessler. If you look at Ellie Nessler's son Willie, he's in jail for the rest of his life for murdering somebody. So, um, that's just that's the closest thing I can compare it to because Ellie shot her son's abuser in the courtroom, but instead she went to jail and then he went to jail. My dad didn't go to jail, and so far yet I haven't been to jail.
That's crazy.
that's good.
Well, it's we got a couple questions in the comments, does the meme graphics of your dad doing God's work give you a positive or negative emotion?
Well, if you go on X and look at my picture that I took last night with the baseball cap on, I'm wearing a shirt that says Vigilante, and it's my dad. I mean, no, we get a kick out of it. My brother-in-law, we got a really great photo from this summer. We were out there, his I guess beach home in Pass Christian, Mississippi, and we all have a daddy shirt on. So yeah, there it is.
Aw.
Tell me I don't look like him. I don't need more for that.
That was crazy.
And so wait, so that's the Riverland hat. That's the hat I got yesterday. That's the exact. I mean, it's an exact replica of the hat my dad had on.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Love that.
Someone else is asking if you're involved in any like groups to help fight abduction and sexual abuse, stuff like that for kids. Like someone was asking. Mike was.
All right. So when I was in college, I got involved in an organization called Men Against Violence, and so we would do presentations and on campus to sororities, fraternities about violence prevention, conflict resolution, sexual assault prevention, risk reduction. And when I graduated from LSU in '97, I got a job in Pennsylvania working at a place called Victim Services Center. I was a certified sexual assault crisis counselor, but I was in charge of the education program. So we would go into the schools and do safety risk reduction education programs to elementary, middle school, high school, colleges. We would do professional trainings. So yeah, I decided to go that route because I wanted to learn. I didn't want to just have lived it as a victim, but I wanted to like learn how to stop it, how to help somebody who's been through it. And so that was one of the best times of my life is the 7 years I spent working in Norristown, or Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. The office was in Norristown, but I traveled around the county. I still go back and visit. I still got friends there. I loved it.
That's so beautiful. That's so important because I feel like so many kids get abused and like it's like they never talk about it or they're scared to like they don't know how to deal with it. Like I think it's so important to have some sort of education or some sort of like checking in because when I was growing up, like no one ever really checked in with me to make sure I was okay. You know what I mean? Like, and I couldn't really like go to the family members that were abusing me. Like it was like there wasn't. I don't feel like there was any programs like that when I was growing up that I felt like I could go to and be like, oh my God, this is happening, help, like, and it makes me feel really helpless. And I feel like a lot of people go through that. Cool that you took part in that.
I missed that last part you said, but I heard last thing I heard you say was a lot of people go through that, which is true.
Yeah, no, I said it's really beautiful that you're
epidemic in our society.
Took part in that. Go ahead, say that again.
I just said it's like an epidemic in our society. I mean, it's insanity.
It really,
how many kids are abused? It's just fucking it boggles my mind.
It's upsetting.
It really is.
Yeah.
I think your dad figured out how to stop it.
Jeff never reoffended anybody.
Yeah, got him off the street.
True that. Like,
that's crazy. I mean, it's cool that you can even like talk about this and like even I mean I couldn't imagine having to process this and then on like and then like in a media level too. I mean that's just crazy, man, and like it's nuts. You had to deal with that entire thing, man, and like I mean, but I'm glad. I don't know, man. That's just nuts. I'm glad. I mean, I guess it ended good for your family, you know. I mean, I really feel like that's the way you handle stuff. You man, you don't hurt children, you know. Really, you don't. That's a pretty like obvious value, you know. You don't hurt kids, you know.
No, don't hurt my dad. Don't hurt my dads. I can tell you that one.
You know, it's crazy because the other day I saw this video where these women were being interviewed and they were asked if they would kill for their child. You guys might have seen this. It was bouncing around the internet, you know, the last week or whatever. And these mothers were just saying, "Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so." And I mean, that just infuriated me. Like, dude, I would kill without thinking about it for a second for my daughter. I mean, there's just no question, you know, and that's the way all parents should be. You know, that's what being a parent is.
I don't have any kids, but I have a cat. But I think I might go John Wick if someone did something to her.
It's in the blood. It's in the blood, right?
I can relate to that. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, you know,
Dude, y'all want to hear? Yeah, y'all want to hear a funny story? It's not that. I mean, it's not that hilarious, but it's just kind of a weird coincidence. All right, so I found this cat. I was heading to Houston. I was on Interstate 10, and I see this little baby. I mean, probably 6 weeks old kitten just walking down the shoulder on Interstate 10. You know. 5 feet, 4 feet, 3 feet. So I go to I couldn't exit right away because I was at an exit. So I had to go to the next exit. I turned around, I came back, and I picked her up, and she follows me around the little hotel room because I had to go get like a little box and everything. She stayed with me. She rode with me to Houston. Then I brought her back home the next day. Well, when I hadn't named her yet. Well, whenever I'd go to pick her up, she'd run from me. And then she'd want me to pick her up, and she'd walk to me. But when I'd been over, she'd take off running. So LSU, they have I want to say a 3-time Olympian. She went to Summer and Winter Olympics. Her name's Lolo Jones, if you've never heard of her. But she's really popular in like the sports world. So I named her Lolo Jones. You know, she went to LSU. She's a track star. Well, on Father's Day this year, my dad blows up on Father's Day. That's like the biggest day of the year. People go, "Oh, they should have a Gary Plauché Day." I said they do. It's Father's Day. And so everyone was wishing me a happy Father's Day, thinking I have kids because I'm 51. And I'm like, there's certain activities you have to do to have kids that I haven't done in a while. So I know I ain't got no kids. But I told him I'm a cat dad, right? So I'm a cat dad. And I leave work at 5 o'clock on Father's Day. And I pull into the local Winn-Dixie, which is a grocery store here in Baton Rouge. And who walks in front of my car? Lolo Jones. I'm like, oh my God. So I pull in, I jump out of my car, and I'm at this point I'm nervous. Like I'm shaking. And I've shaken hands with Donald Trump, George W. Bush. I've met Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Larry Holmes, talked with Bernard Hopkins. I mean, I've met a lot of people. And the most nervous I've ever been was for Lolo Jones. And I even said, Lolo, my dad's the guy that shot the guy. And I never do that. But and she's not from here. She's from like Iowa. Yeah, so she's like from Iowa. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And my dumbass had 20 books in my trunk, and I didn't even think to pull a book out and sign one and give it to her.
Aw.
You're just the definition of starstruck at the moment.
All because of a damn cat. All because of a damn cat.
Was it only because your cat is named after her, or was it because of your admiration for her athletic abilities?
No, if I'd have saw Lolo Jones without a cat, not having named my cat Lolo Jones, I would have literally said, "Hey, Lolo," and just maybe went and got a selfie with her and walked on. But I mean, this was like, I forgot to give her a book. Shaquille O'Neal came walking into the restaurant one day. He got a book.
Got to give Shaq a book. He may not read.
I wouldn't even know.
I don't know if he could read, but
like, so. Hey, he went to LSU. Don't be just saying that. No,
I named my pussy after you.
Yeah, that's what I should have said.
Kiko, you always come through, buddy.
And well, but she's like a 40-year-old virgin too. She's kind of famous for being a virgin. So yeah, hey Lolo, I might not get your pussy, but I got one named after you. That's a good one.
That's hilarious.
That's pretty funny. There's
But
layers to that story.
when I was at LSU, I walked in the bathroom one day and boom, there was Shaq. I was like, oh shit. Well, Shaq was playing for Orlando at the time, and he had just recorded a rap on one of Michael Jackson's songs for his History album, right? So I break down in the bathroom and I rap his rap that he did in the Michael song to him right after he finished taking a piss, right? So this is probably 1995, 1996. So a couple years ago, I was at Twin Peaks here in Baton Rouge, and who comes walking in? Shaq. So, like I said, I called my sister. I'm like, I guess your favorite person just walked into Twin Peaks, and she's like, who? I'm like, Shaq. She's like, give him a book. So I ran out to my car, signed the book, sent a waitress to go give me the book. Well, let's check this out. This is really good. Really good. So So the Shaq looks at the book, and he's having dinner with this dude, and the dude looks up, and he's looking for me, right? He's looking for me. So I wave, and he's like, come on, come over. So I walk over there. If you watch the video of my dad, can you show that real quick?
Yeah,
Daddy shooting. Yeah, pull it up. All right, see the other guy, the cop.
Yeah.
The escort.
All right. The escort. That cop, the one on the right, not the one in the orange. The cop. Shaq was having dinner with his son that day.
Oh,
No
my
shit,
God.
dude. Dude, that's crazy.
All slow mo. He looks so badass. All slow mo. Oh, did he just eat shit?
Yeah, dude.
Did someone just trip him?
No, he shot him.
No, that's when his dad
shot him.
Yeah, play that back.
That's him shooting him. Oh,
Yeah,
I thought that was your dad. Okay. Whoa.
Yeah,
So then he turns around.
Bam,
Whoa!
Bam,
Holy
that's crazy.
That's nuts.
40 years, he still ain't missed.
He did that. He did that
Whoa,
like
okay,
he's
I
done
get
it
it. He's wearing
before.
the hat. Okay, I see.
Play that one more time. That's
Wow.
crazy.
Are you good? He's like,
oh, look, the hat. See the hat?
oh my God! Wow. That's it. That's
that a
fucking
30
nuts.
Was that a 38 special?
Yeah, 38 snub nose revolver.
Sean knows the guy.
So look, so whenever I walked over to Shaq and Sean, that was the cop's son's name. Sean graduated with my brother and sister at the same high school, and one time they were at a football game, and my dad saw Bud, and instead of waving, my dad kind of just did like that. And Bud, you can imagine, didn't like my father because he didn't know my dad, and my dad's shooting right next to So Bud wasn't too happy about it. But I looked at Shaq and I said, Shaq, I want you to know something. I said, I want you to know that I'm the guy that sang to you in the bathroom that time. And he looks over at Sean and he goes, yeah, and he went in there to take a shit. And I was like, he remembered me.
Wow,
You made an
that's
impression.
crazy.
Your dad's probably got a better shot than Shaq, though.
Well, when it comes to free throws.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's crazy. So I guess has this elevated you to like a level of like your own kind of fame and notoriety too because of the story and stuff, like more or less.
And the book.
But yeah, I mean, if you're selling books, I mean, that's what. Yeah.
I haven't got to the level I would like to be because I mean the book came out right before COVID, so I had like 5 presentations canceled. I had a trip scheduled to Gulf Shores, Alabama. Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Vancouver. And all of those literally free trips got canceled. And then, we're locked down for a couple of years. So hopefully when this documentary comes out, I can go on national shows to promote the documentary and promote the book. Maybe republish the book because I'm calling it the lost chapter because I started writing the book in 93, put it on the shelf, started again in 2012, wrote one chapter. It was the first chapter. I was going to start from the beginning. Well, I found that chapter like years later after the book came out, and it really is a good chapter, and it needs to be like, if I republish, it needs to be like a kind of like the lost chapter. it was just kind of in detailed the first moment where Jeff started testing my boundaries, and I think it's really important. So I would love to get that included into the next edition if there is one.
That's
Seems
awesome.
like a good excuse to just relaunch the whole thing. Now that you'd be able to do the proper promotional tours and all that, adding that extra chapter, you could whip up a new kind of storm of interest.
Let's say Netflix were to pick it up and have a docuseries, because they're pitching a 3-part docuseries. So let's say Netflix pitches it. Well, they might want to, republish the book, so they might want to have me republish the book and get full distribution. Right now, it's print on demand on Amazon. Full distribution, you would go walk into the airport, it would be there in every Barnes and Noble in the country. So hopefully that'll happen.
That's what like Airbnb did. They kept having like premieres. Nobody knew who the company was. So, like they'd have like a premiere party like every so often and stuff. And you can probably do it with your book too. You're probably selling a lot of copies already. That's not too personal, right? I imagine a bunch of people want to hear this story and are connected to it through the meme world and stuff and like the gun culture and all that.
I could probably look it up, but it's not. Trust me, it's not what I had hoped for. I've before I had a book, I was on Oprah, Montel, Geraldo, Lisa Gibbons show, John Walsh show, CNN, and ever since the book came out, I haven't been on anything that high profile. You can imagine I really would love to do Joe Rogan or something like that. Or I got a friend of mine that works for Good Morning America. I sent Robert Roberts a book because she's from Mississippi, went to school in Louisiana, and for whatever reasons, the producers haven't contacted me. I have, though, recently in the last couple of months, done a few segments on Court TV.
Well, now you're on the Anthony Rogers show, so you went even past all those other shows and all those other no-name shows you just mentioned,
I have to sign out kind of early tonight, so I didn't want to cut anyone off, but I just wanted to say it was nice meeting you, Jody. It was nice meeting you, Sean. Thanks for having me on again, and it was great talking to you. You guys continue to talking, and I'll see you guys next week.
Well, let me no. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a link where you can email it to her so she can download it for free if she's interested.
Girls can't read, dude. They're women are literate.
I can send her a link to the audiobook.
Good.
She can listen.
Yeah.
I would disagree. I would say they don't listen, but they can read.
They don't listen either. Yeah, that's true. They just talk a lot, That's what I'm just checking. Nikki's awesome. I appreciate that, bro. But no, it's crazy. So like no, it's weird. Like I appreciate you taking the time to even be on here, man. It's kind of crazy, this whole like story. It's just kind of a weird. Hang on, someone's saying. That's a great question. Actually, what are some good times you had with your dad? That's a great question.
There's tons of them. We would go to Saints games. We'd go to Houston on a weekend trip to go see the Astros. One of my best memories is we in 2002. My little brother and my dad, they flew up to Pennsylvania, and then we drove to New York, and we went on the John Walsh. He had a television talk show, and the day before we went on that talk show, me and my dad and my brother, we all went on the Circle Line tour in Manhattan. If you've never done it, I've probably done it over 20 times. I do it every time I go to New York City, but I might not do it the next time I go because I found out an alternative. But just my dad just taking it all in and just being in New York City. And he told me, he said, this is one of the happiest days of my life. So that probably would be one of the best memories.
That's awesome, man.
He sounds like he was a great dad, sounds like you have overwhelmingly positive feelings about your guys' relationship. Obviously he did a lot, put his life on the line for you, and it's cool. It's cool to hear, some of this other stuff that you're adding to the picture.
Yeah. So no, he if he wasn't the guy that he was, he probably may have gone to jail. But everyone loved my dad. He was a host. He was the entertainer. He would buy you a beer. He'd buy the bar around the beers. He'd buy you a shot. And at the time I didn't drink in college. And so he'd be like, even though he knew I didn't drink, he'd be like, you want a beer? Like, I'll get you one. And I mean, that was just, my dad, like he was, hosting Monday night football parties. He's always the one that was cooking the big jambalaya for the baseball team. He coached every one of my sports. Even though he knew nothing about soccer, he was a soccer coach. I mean, he was a parent that was involved in the everyday activities of his kid's life. And whenever my parents split up in '83 when we were taking karate, before the shooting, I think that was tough for him because he loved his family, obviously.
Yeah. Oh well, so him and your mom split in '83, and what year again did you say this happened? '84, the next year, the shooting.
Yeah, then the shooting took place in March of '84. They separated,
Okay.
I think, the summer, August of '83, but they got back together right after the shooting.
Did that last?
Well, so part of my dad's probation. All right, so my mother's issue with my dad was his drinking. Okay, he wasn't a mean drunk. He wasn't a violent drunk. But when you're out entertaining your clients, you come home 9 o'clock at night, might have a little whiskey dick, kids are in bed. I could see where a wife wouldn't, like the drinking. So part of his probation was he couldn't drink. So my mother said, "Look, as long as he doesn't drink, I'm fine with him. Like I love your dad." And so they got back together. And then once he completed his probation, he went back to drinking. But he tried to hide it. But he tried to hide it. But here's the funny thing: my mother called me, she pulled me aside. And she's like, "I think your dad's drinking again." And I said, "Why?" She goes, "Because he was snoring last night, and he only snores when he's drunk, and he hadn't snored in 7 years." So he got busted again. And then she ended up leaving and going and living in Biloxi. She got a job working at a bank. She got a little apartment right there on the beach. She had it all fixed up all nicely. And that was '91. And she lived there till 2005 when Katrina wiped that apartment complex off the face of the map. And so she lived in a FEMA trailer for another year. And after that time had passed, my little brother, he lives directly across the street. Like, I mean, I could get him here in 5 minutes or seconds if I wanted to. But he lives across the street. He had just had his second child. And so they convinced her to move back home. They would pay her to watch the kids instead of sending them to daycare. And that way she could make her money, take care of herself, have a place to stay. So I had moved back like 2 months before Katrina from Pennsylvania. So Daddy was living by himself. He was drinking too much. And it was kind of like, I need to go back home, not take care of him. I wasn't taking care of him. But it was just kind of like, be there for him. Well, then they convinced my mother to move back. So I'm living in the front room. My mom's living in the middle room where I'm at right now. My dad's living in the master bedroom. So it was kind of like 3 roommates. And then Daddy had the stroke. He had to go to the nursing home because he needed full-time care. And then he died. So now I'm a 51-year-old living at mommy hugging a cat all day long.
Oh, so you still live with your mom now, huh?
Yeah, I still live the same. Well, like when I move back home with Daddy, and I'm still in the same house. I mean, once Katrina happened, real estate in Baton Rouge went up 100%. I mean, not 100%, maybe probably 40%. So if you had a $100,000 home before Katrina, the day after it was 140,000 because the New Orleans got wiped out. Baton Rouge was kind of like the first. Yeah, it's kind of like the first refugee zone. So I mean, Baton Rouge was literally 110% full because you had 2 families living in the house, and that was not uncommon at that point. It was pretty miserable back then.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that was devastating.
I was just down there.
Crazy, man.
I was just down there not too long ago in that area where Sean's at right now. I was just there probably like a couple months ago, like New Orleans area. I've never been to Baton Rouge, but
I'll be in Biloxi tomorrow too.
Well, that's remote. I could go look at Seal Street and Beach Road. It's literally almost not directly across from the Beau Rivage, but you'll see an interstate. Where are you playing at?
The Cannery.
It's the Cannery, okay.
I think it's just been
I'm not
for the
aware.
last 2 years.
I'm not aware of it, but again, the Beau Rivage. If you're looking from the Beau Rivage towards the opposite of the ocean, on the left-hand side of the interstate that runs right on the left side of the Beau Rivage, there's a little street, and that's where her little apartment was right there. It just got wiped out. And a friend of mine, he had gotten an apartment next door, and I had just moved back, and I gave him a whole box of just my VHS tapes because he had just had his own place, and they got all wiped away too. But that's collateral damage for nothing. But that's cool. So New Orleans or Jefferson last night and Biloxi tomorrow. Did you do anything fun today?
I actually have a friend here that lives in New Orleans, so we just we stayed at his place last night, and we've just kind of kicked it today, taking it easy, and ate some good food, grilled some steaks, and get kind of a relaxed day,
That's what I'm doing tomorrow.
Sounds
But
awesome.
New Orleans is definitely one of my favorite towns in this country. I love the food element. Obviously, I mean, the food is just incredible, and I've had so many amazing experience. I've been touring for a really long time, so I've had a lot of opportunities to be in New Orleans and see some cool shit and do some cool shit, and I always love coming here.
Ever do any gigs up in Pennsylvania, Philly area? That's what I was at for like 7 years.
Oh yeah, we used to play the Trocadero a lot back in the day. You know that place?
I've heard of it. I've never been. Yeah,
we used to
heard
play
of
the
it.
Trocadero. I'm trying to think of where else we used to play in Philly. There's a whole slew of smaller venues that we've played that I couldn't even tell you the name of. The last place that we've been playing is just some shitty little club, and I couldn't tell you the name, but we still go there pretty much every maybe couple of years. We play what is it, Harrisburg, pretty often these days.
Where the Poison's from?
There's a venue called HMAC there, and we've been playing there lately. Venues in the United States, small venues it's a very volatile like scenario. I mean, the Rona time period wiped a whole bunch of them out, and then rock music is not at its best at the moment as far as popularity goes. So rock venues, they really come and go quickly these days. A lot of the classics got wiped out and little ones pop up and then they go under, and it's kind of a confusing mess these days.
Yeah, COVID was shit. I got to be honest with you. Like 2020, if I could trade 83 for 2020, I'd take 83 again.
Yeah, dude, it's changed the world for the worse, and I mean, it destroyed a lot of good.
It sure did. Yeah,
I just got triple back, so I'm fine.
I know.
I have
Anthony,
Do it.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
No, I was saying I have a guilty I don't pleasure, maybe not a pleasure, but I just have guilt, and the guilt comes from what? I got to be honest. I actually did enjoy the first 2 weeks of the shutdown because we all couldn't leave the house. It was only going to be for 2 weeks. So my brother, he plays music too, but he just plays like a guitar and sings, local bars around here. And he would go online, and he would so often he'd play a drinking game where music. So he'd play songs while you commented, and if you made him laugh while he's singing, he'd have to take a drink. And you didn't, and if he finished the song without taking a drink, then you had to take a drink. Just creative ways of like, hey, we're fucking trapped in our houses. Let's just figure out something to do. He even wrote a song called the Quarantine Song. I think it's on Spotify. If you want to check it out, I mean, that's not bridge over troubled water, but I mean, he had nothing to do during the quarantine, so he wrote a quarantine song. But I did enjoy the first 2 weeks, but after that, fuck it.
Yeah, I the whole time I felt like something was off, and I had lots of suspicions, and so when the quarantine first happened, I wish I could have enjoyed some of it, but I just thought, where is this going? Where are they taking this? Because I just feel like I just knew that there were nefarious plans and agendas, and I had so much worry and stress. Plus, I mean, me being a touring musician, Anthony as well being a touring comedian, I mean, we both lost a lot of gigs that year. 2020 was the year I've toured the least in the last 20 years. I did one tour in the beginning of the year, and I got home from that tour in February, right when it was starting to ramp, and I had 3 tours canceled for the rest of that year, and it was quite a struggle when that's my main gig.
You want to hear what's messed up with me is my dumbass didn't do my taxes in 2016, so I didn't get any of that free money they were giving away.
Oh, you didn't get the stimulus, huh?
I got a couple stimuluses, but I didn't get the, like, in Louisiana they were like giving you $850 a week for like 9 months.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
So that's why a lot of people. That's why you like a lot of like Burger Kings and stuff like that are still struggling to hire people because people made so much money not working that because all you had to do is say I'm scared, I don't want to go to work, I need to stay home, and they're like, here you go, $500 here, extra $350 from the state, and so all that free money I didn't get none of it.
It's amazing that free money, and then people wonder why our money is being inflated to this degree now. As soon as they started just doing that, I was just like, this is they're just printing that shit. It doesn't exist.
So I'm getting a little conspiracy vibe going. So do you have any theories on what the whole shutdown was about?
A communist takeover.
Yeah,
globalist takeover.
It definitely felt like a move. It wasn't a complete plan. It's part of a complete plan. I definitely feel like they want to just stomp out freedom, get us, normalize limitations in our ability to travel and what we're allowed to do, and I just think that it was just a major piece in their overall plan.
See, I think it was a way to get rid of crypto. I think crypto was getting too powerful and too, mainstream that it was like, all right, let's nip this shit in the bud and let's make sure that the World Bank, you get your money from us.
Right.
So here we're gonna give you a bunch, So, but again, I said this when it happened. I was like, it's an agenda. I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna try to speculate. We'll know probably in 15, 20 years. But it's funny that you said it because I was sitting here. Today, what I've been watching is it's a 3-part docuseries on a day in America, and it's like JFK. So even though I'm sitting here waiting to go on the show here, I had like a couple hours to kill. I'm watching JFK conspiracy theories it's new. It's made in 2023. I'm like, what new am I going to learn? Nothing. I saw some really cool colorized footage that I'd never seen before.
Right. Yeah, they definitely. They've made enough of those, JFK movies and series to cover all that's out there, but it's still an interesting topic,
Which I find funny that you're at that venue, or you were at that venue last night, because that's where a lot of the New Orleans mob, Carlos Marcello, would have like dinners and shit like that. That's a big part of that history.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Sean's actually he's actually in the mafia.
Good for you.
No, I wouldn't have to play these all these fucking shows every year if I was in the mafia.
It's his front. It's his mafia front to be a rock star.
That's right. I'm using this to launder my money.
Yeah, I'm gonna start making conspiracy theories up about everybody on the screen. I just make them like why do it to strangers? Just do it to people on the screen.
It's a shame. It's a shame we didn't schedule this for the 6th, because then I could have went and saw you last night.
Dude, yeah, if we're ever coming through and you feel like coming out, definitely hit me up and I'll get you tickets, man.
Cool.
That'd be a great Twitter picture. Like wearing a Smiley Soul shirt. Like have Jody wearing a Smiley Soul shirt. That'd be a good Twitter picture.
We actually used to play Baton Rouge here and there, but it's been a while. Typically these days we play either New Orleans or Lafayette even.
No, everyone does. Everyone skips right over Baton Rouge. They go to New Orleans, they go to Lafayette. Or they could just come to Baton Rouge, and all the people from New Orleans and Lafayette could come here. But I don't blame people for going to New Orleans, because New Orleans, it's a major city. They have a football team. They have a dome. They have an arena. Not many cities has a dome and an arena. Where did you play in Baton Rouge? I'm gonna guess the varsity.
That sounds very familiar. That's got to be it. I've been doing this a while, and like my brain, it just doesn't really store that kind of
Right.
information anymore. But when you said the varsity, I'm pretty sure that was it.
It's right off. It's right off the campus at LSU. Like literally, if you had a cup full of water, you could throw the water to LSU's campus from the varsity.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I'd actually have to Google it to confirm, but I can bet that that's it based on how it sounds.
Yeah, Blind Melons played there. I know Fishbone's played there. So it's definitely it's. I went and saw Jim Brewer there.
Oh, nice.
So it's a neat little small kind of intimate venue.
Small and intimate. That's what we typically play. Yeah. We aren't playing the big ones. We have played the big ones, with opening for other bands or playing festival style shows and whatnot. But when we do our own touring, we're usually playing the intimate ones.
I'm doing the bar
Is there
right
any?
now. Like I'm doing the bar and grill scene, the coffee house bar and grill scene. That's where I'm bringing comedy to a very lucrative comedy career from that.
You have a next tour in the works right now, Anthony?
2024. Yeah, I'm mapping it out right now. I'm wrapping up, helping my mom out, and then I'm gonna get back to taking other people's money in random states.
Beautiful.
Get back to stuffing these pockets full of all. It's the game plan.
That's right.
We should take Jody on tour. Jody, you want to open for Smile Empty Soul?
I could get up there and say a few words. I could.
Cat.
Look, I got it. I don't know if you can see it, but that's her on a blanket. My sister got that for me.
Oh, look at that.
I was like, yeah, let me. So I'm because a lot of times, knowing what I went through, people are like, so how has that affected you? I'm like, okay, you want to ask me if I'm gay or not? Just ask me. Like, I don't give a shit. People's been wondering that since I was 11 years old.
I figured when you showed me the cat blanket, you were gay. Like.
Well, that's what I told my mother when I got the cat blanket. I said, no one's going to fucking believe me when I tell them I'm not.
That's a nice cat blanket. Don't let my shade ruin it for you. It's a nice blanket.
Well, it works out good because I put it over my two legs, and when she jumps on my lap, she doesn't fall. But if I'm just sitting there, she'll sometimes jump on my leg and fall off and scratch me. So the blanket's there to keep her, because she loves to sit on me. I mean, she knows I saved her. So she follows me around like she thinks I'm its mommy.
It's crazy when animals like recognize and appreciate that element. Like the ones that you truly save, they're like they show their appreciation and affection,
Oh, I'm her person. Is there any more questions from people watching?
The Mike's one question. Good local eats in Baton Rouge.
All right, I mentioned this in my book, and since the book was published, 2 of the locations have shut down. One, the building last week was like destroyed, and they're going to build like a Panda Express and like a Chipotle or whatever. But if you're ever in Baton Rouge, there's a restaurant called TJ Ribs. They have the best smoked wings on the planet, and that's what I would highly recommend. I know if you're in Baton Rouge, like I don't want wings, but I promise you, they're the best wings on the planet.
I'm down.
And what it's called? What again?
It's called TJ Ribs. It's a kind of like a barbecue place, but they have smoked wings, and they're large jumbo wings, but they flash fry them when you order them to heat them back up, or you can get them. Excuse me, you can get them grilled. If you get them grilled, it tastes like it came out of your backyard. Very, very good restaurant.
I might have to try and stop there. After Biloxi, we head to Texas, so don't we have to pass through Baton Rouge on the way?
Absolutely. If you're taking I-10, you're gonna have to take. You're gonna have to pass through Baton Rouge, and it's at the Acadian exit, Acadian Thruway. It's called TJ Ribs. I mentioned it in the book. Get the wings with the sauce on the side, and all you have to do is get the wings because there's enough meat on the bones. I think it's listed as the appetizer. Don't get the fried wings. Get the smoked wings. The wings, the appetizer, and they're so good.
I'll give it a shot. Is it right off the highway?
Like literally, if you stopped on the shoulder, you could walk to the restaurant.
Dude, it's done. I'm going there. Yeah, that's a done deal.
Oh, so are y'all y'all like a bus?
We're in an RV.
Okay, so you'll be able to park in the parking lot.
They have a decent sized parking lot.
If not, I'm not, because the one that I'm talking to you about is the original location. It's not the one that I went to mainly. But if not, there's an old abandoned gas station next door, so you should be able to find a place to pull off the road.
We get creative.
But I mean, literally
creative.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it's by the time you exit off, you would be taking an immediate left to get to TJ Ribs. I mean, it's right off the highway.
Awesome, man. I appreciate the recommendation. Yeah, I'll stop there for lunch on Monday or something like that. Sunday or Monday.
Let me know what you think when you're done. Cause that's really good. And the burnt ends.
You're gonna have people waiting outside the restaurant now, Sean. Like they're watching this. They're like he said he'd be here Monday or Tuesday. You're gonna have to wait outside.
I don't think so.
That's not how rock bands work. That's not how rock bands work.
I mean, probably not.
All right. Well, prove Sean wrong and meet him there in Baton Rouge on Tuesday at TJ Ribs.
1 p.m.
1 p.m.
We'll be there.
And if anybody watching at home is from swinging through O'Fallon, Missouri, I've eaten the brass rail the last 2 weeks. Just ordering it over and over again. Just it's a good steak.
You're gonna get swarmed, bro.
I'm getting what?
You're gonna get swarmed.
What's
at
that?
O'Fallon's now.
Oh no. O'Fallon's doesn't allow people anymore.
Isn't that how comedy works?
Well, I'm a bar and grill comedian. You're a gold record having artist. There's a little bit of a difference in our success. I feel like Jody, what do you think? What do you think's cooler, having gold records or playing bar and grills? Like
I play bar and grills too, dude.
I was like, I think both have their appeal. I mean, I spend a lot of times in bars and grills, mostly bars.
He's playing that neutral. He's playing that neutral game. He's playing Switzerland. He's like, I like both you guys.
Exactly.
You guys both have cool beards.
Dude, when you first came on here, I think Nikki thought you were me because you had just like the long hair and beard. She goes, oh, there you are. Like as soon as it came on, I think she thought that she thought that you were me at first. Like it was funny.
It's funny too. She goes,
I would like to see.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
No, I'd like to see y'all spend summer in Louisiana with those beards. Y'all be like me. Y'all be because I can grow hair. I just don't. I don't like right now. My hair is too long, but I can grow it. I just hate it.
I just put a sponsored hat over my skullet. That's what I do. I just cover the skullet with the sponsored hat. That's the only thing I do. I'm getting old and bald. I like it.
I can hear that this earpiece is just hurting my ear for some reason. I don't know why.
You know what? We've hit the hour mark. I should probably head out anyway. If you guys are,
we probably should. Yeah.
Feeling like it's a complete episode.
I think we did a great job here. I think we did a good job. I think we learned a lot today. Give it up for Mike Kristen though.
Hey guys.
Wait.
Great show.
And Nikki got to see the shooting, which she had never seen before. So that
was an interesting element,
That cool first live reaction. I've never seen someone live react to it.
Right? Yeah. Most people have seen it by now. That's certainly all my friends.
I just gotta tell you, I had a bumper sticker of your dad on my first car ever, like in 2017.
That's crazy.
That's bad.
Sean's dad or Jody's dad?
Sean's dad. Yeah, Jody, I had a picture of like a bumper sticker of both the Roof Koreans and your dad on my minivan.
Where I work at my friend's specialty meat store, and I have my book on the counter because I'll sell the book there. And this guy, not knowing who I was, he walked in there. He looked at the title. The title of the book is Why Gary Why. Now it's available on Amazon. Let me do the pitch thing. But that guy looked at me and he goes, "Every Father's Day, I put that man's picture on my computer."
Yeah. Now that title is that was what the officer said to your dad, right?
Right. He said, you hear the funny thing is you hear him go, "Whoa!" Like, "Whoa! God damn it, Gary! Why, Gary?" But everybody just remembers Gary. Why, Gary? Why? So that's why the book, it technically isn't Why Gary Why, but it's Why Gary Why, because that's all people hear. When I was working on the book, before it was published, I was driving Uber. Ugh, I hate it now, but at the time I was enjoying it. And I picked this guy up at the airport, and he was like, "Yeah, me and my mom, me and my wife, we just moved down from Ohio, and we really like the people here. It's friendly, the food is nice, blah blah blah." And so I'm just driving him. I'm, whatever. And he's like, "So, what do you do besides this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right now I'm kind of working on a project," and I was kind of keeping it low. So he kept asking. I said, "Look, dude," I said, "that airport I just picked you up at, I was like, when I was younger, I said I was kidnapped and my father shot the guy in that airport you were just at." And he goes, "Wait a second, your dad is Why Gary Why?" And I was like, "There's the fucking title of my book." And I'd already said that was going to be the title of the book, but when he said that, it was confirmed. It was Why Gary Why.
It's awesome. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. And Sean, thanks for coming back on here. That's good to see you back at the Vaughn. Appreciate Mike producing this, and Jody taking the time. I appreciate it. And people watching this, just I appreciate you wasting your Saturday with us. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with Oh, it's Friday. Yeah, sorry. You're not wasting your Saturday. You're wasting your Friday. Sorry. Yeah. I'm just joking. No, thank you all for watching. Without listeners, this would be a delusional thing. So I appreciate everybody watching and all the guests and stuff, and I appreciate you all. I'm gonna get out of here too.
Thanks for having me.
Nice meeting you, Jody.
Hey, nice meeting you. Enjoy your TJ ribs.
Nice meeting you, Sean.
Dude, I'll find you on social media, man. I'll let you know what I think after we eat there.
All righty.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, have a good night.
Bye.